This is my Grandpa Sam, Salvatore Cimitero, born March 23, 1929, and died February 10, 2017. My mother wrote a loving tribute to him, being read by my Aunt Mary, with his music playing in the background. Rest in peace, Grandpa. We all love and miss you very much.
This biographic synopsis is a collaboration of my fond and treasured memories, along with excerpts from recorded interviews by my sister with a master musician. It's a loving tribute dedicated to a prince of a man, my mother's diamond in the rough, that transformed into a brilliant and shiny gem, my loving father Sam. Salvatore Sam Cimitero was born on March 23, 1929 in Detroit, Michigan, and lived on Sherman Street as a young child until he was a teen and his family moved to Marlborough Street, where he grew up. My father had an inherent love and passion for music, and around the age of 10, his parents bought him his first instrument, a 12-bass accordion, and enrolled him in music lessons. It wasn't long before he realized that he could play by ear just after listening to a song only a few times. After mastering his amorous accordion, his parents gifted him with this precious, cherished, 24 ivory keyed Zappi that he treasured immensely. As a young teenager, he recorded two songs entitled The Breeze and I and Begin the Beguine. He performed The Breeze and I during a contest held at the Venetian Hall and welcomed a proud moment when he was awarded a trophy for his performance. At around 18 years of age, he started a combo called the Stardusters, and they performed regularly at home parties, weddings, and venues such as the Elks Club, the Keyboard Lounge, and even once on the Babalo boat, until he was drafted by the Army into the Korean War. He continued to play while serving in the military, performing for his outfit, playing jam sessions alongside two other drafted accordionists, his best buddy Andy Sapela, who later became a lifelong friend, and Sal Bakari. Serving to protect our nation had a profound influence on his life and instilled in him a great love of flag and country that he always talked about with great pride, and later inspired him to become a member of the American Legion Post 1. After the war, he married his teenage sweetheart that he took to the prom, my mother, and they moved to the suburbs. Shortly afterwards, he entered into an era of hard times, struggling to keep the family afloat while battling alcoholism. During that time, he brought out his precious ivory keys only on occasion. But after retiring early at the age of 62, he did a 360 turnaround, conquering his demons and never taking another sip of alcohol again. It seemed as if a spark had reignited a new life in him, and he was tenderly nudged into picking up his prized possession more frequently. Then came a revealing transformation. You could see, layer by layer, slowly peeling away to his inner core, exposing the true, loving, kind-hearted, humble man that he was. My love began to grow and blossom for this transformed, formerly verbally abusive alcoholic, and it melted away all my harboring resentment of his strict parenting, especially to me, his firstborn girl. In the early 90s, my parents were invited to a 4th of July celebration at an in-laws gathering. Among the guests were two very accomplished accordionists that my father greatly admired. Tony Dannon, an accordion virtuoso, arranger, musician, entertainer, composer, music coach, and teacher, and Ray Batani, a musician of the same caliber and status. They were entertaining the guests, and once finding out that my father could play, they offered up one of their accordions and an invitation for him to perform. His performance was received with much acclaim, and he finally achieved a moment of fame when the host whispered in his ear, "They want you to keep playing." Shortly after, he was then afflicted with multiple health problems that rendered his body to a heart device which sustained his life by keeping the beat. My mother always encouraged him to play, but it became increasingly difficult for him to hold his beloved bellows that rubbed against the protrusion on his chest. So she bought him a keyboard. He made a smooth transition, learning to caress his newfound love, and he played it continuously and effortlessly. The music brought him great joy and even seemed to alleviate some of the pain that infiltrated his body. He was a natural and loved performing for others, especially his adoring family, which gave him much inspiration to write and compose music of his own. His genre of music was Latin and Romance, which he executed with his own sophisticated style and flair. I loved to listen to him play and was already anticipating the repercussions of loss when the music would stop. I wanted to desperately find a way to keep my father's music alive, and coincidentally at that time, my friend Jill's neighbor had a recording studio in his basement. Grandpa Sam then recorded the first of his 3 consecutive CDs entitled Easy Listening. Incorporating into it were some of his own songs at the age of 80 years old, without the use of any printed music or scores, only his personal keyboard. He always said the music was in his head. With the news of his first granddaughter, Elisa, to be married, he abruptly awakened from his sleep one night due to tunes flooding his mind with inspiring notes, coaxing him to get out of bed and transfer them to manuscript paper. This labor of love resulted in his composed gift to her entitled A Song to You. It was introduced to the guests as he took her hand and they glided across the dance floor. He repeated the same loving gesture 1 month later for his eldest granddaughter, Gina, at her wedding, and they danced together to this gift for her, his composition of love entitled Music for You. Other original songs added to his repertoire are Snappy Mama, My Susie, that he dedicated to my mother, Daughters of Mine, later renamed Daughters of Ours, dedicated to my sister Mary, my sister-in-law Mary Rose, and me, and Grandpa Loves Us, dedicated to all his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. His last CD, entitled I Love You So, is dedicated to the woman in his life and the family he loved. My father was laden with multiple health problems early on, but in September of 2015, he suffered a debilitating stroke and was also affected with dementia. His last 17 months of life were brutal, and it became extremely heart-wrenching to watch him suffer. His body finally succumbed to his illness, and he took his last breath on February 10, 2017. And now, even though he is at peace and no longer suffering his loss, has left a huge gaping hole in my heart that still at times is filled with unbearable sorrow. He was a loving, kind-hearted, selfless, honest, humble being, beautiful on the inside and out, who was always giving without ever expecting anything in return. I really don't think he knew just how gifted and special he was. He totally adored and was dedicated to my mother, and he had a great love of family and life, and of his beloved country, which respectfully honored him with a memorial funeral flag that he so deservingly earned. And I am no longer witness to his old, frail, tired, failing body, but his precious memories are deep embedded in my heart, which I will cherish always. My father has passed on, but his music will live forever. He would be so happy, honored, and proud to know that others had an interest in his music and how it has touched their lives. Keep filling the heavens with your beautiful music, Daddy. Be at peace, And until we are reunited together as one, know that I love you and miss you dearly. Rest well, my handsome prince. Your loving and adoring daughter, Olympia. I love you so.